Dear God, give me a reason to get up early tomorrow to go to work. You're poor. You asked for a reason. Happy Sunday, everyone. I'm Akorn. Welcome back to Idiocracy, that is modern day society. Another week, another dumpster fire. Let's throw some memes on it. Vancouver expects to be the first city in Canada with an electric fire truck. The electric fire truck costs $300,000 more than a diesel model, pumps 40% less water, and needs a diesel extender engine to make it useful. The future looks bright. Well, it's the taxpayers that's going to have to pay for it. That's why the government's proud of it. When you're governed by idiots, it is the leading cause of unaliving. Sheila Jackson. No ordinary American cares about constitutional rights. Joe Biden. Having an abortion is no different than having one's tonsils removed. Elizabeth Warren. Owning lead dispensers is not a right. If it were a right, it would be in the Constitution. AOC. The question is, how far into the book will she get before she wakes up and removes the mask? She won't. Either she just reads it as fiction, because obviously nothing like that is happening, or she gets mad and throws it out the window. Justice Sotomayor questions if Americans know the difference between presidents and kings. This coming from the side that don't know the difference between a man and a woman. ABC pulls Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely after hosts Charlie Kirk comments. Vegetarian ate one burger, got hooked, and become a butcher. Well, congrats on becoming healthier. You know, if meat, and specifically beef, if it wasn't good for you, then the government and the billionaires wouldn't be trying to destroy all the farms and get you to eat bugs for protein instead. Oh look, celebrity opinions being put in the trash exactly where they should be. The gulf of no one has been arrested yet. And that covers a long list of topics. Sam Altman wants his new company to scan the irises of every human on Earth. Here's what it means for you. The eyes may have it, but Sam Altman only wants yours for a quick iris scan. With that, the tech mogul says his latest venture, the World Project, can eliminate ever more sophisticated and human-like bots from the internet. And anyone that they disclaim as a bot. The rapid rise of AI has meant it's become increasingly hard to tell if articles, comments on message boards, the people you're playing against in online games, or even chatting to are real. The World Project wants to change that by giving everyone a unique ID, which, when applied online, would confirm they are the person they say they are. In other words, it's a digital ID, which not only is already being pushed, but also implemented in nations all over the earth. And it's only a matter of time before it's implemented here in the US also. I finally realized that people are prisoners of their phones. That's why they're called cell phones. Might not be where the original name came from. Doesn't make it any less true today, though. How to waste $1.5 billion in 107 days with nothing to show for it. I wonder if that's the name of her new book. Anyone know if she ever got it published yet? Yeah, that's a pretty short summary of where it's at, and that's about as much truth as we'll ever see. Italy lawmaker proposes law that would jail vegans for 4 years if they don't feed their kids meat. Now, I don't like any new laws because every single law out there basically just strips away more and more rights, which aren't rights to begin with if the government can take them. But, with that said, I'd almost have to support this one.
I'm a vegan and I'm trying steak for the very first, steak for the very first time in about 7 years. 7 years. What cut is it?
It's rump steak.
Rump steak. Okay. So I'm not quite sure what this is going to be like. Okay. I'm not sure about this. Wow. Wow. It's so good.
The introduction of AI has changed the corporate ladder and its destination in unexpected ways. Not really unexpected, that's pretty much where it's always led. Scientists have summoned a massless demon particle. It'll help unlock the inner workings of superconductors. Sure it will. In 1956, physicist David Pines theorized the existence of a massless neutral plasmon called a demon that could help explain the superconductivity of some exotic materials. It's always nice how these supposed discoveries that they make and the names that they give them, like the God particle was one that they raved about for I don't even know how long. And now they got the demon particle too. All part of their symbolism. You can't make money these days being a clown. Yeah, because liberals are doing it for free. Finally found a cabin that I can actually afford. I don't know, really. Plastic wrap is getting expensive. So, Cracker Barrel? Yeah, a lot of good reasons why there's memes like this, though. With her knowing what stocks to buy, as well as when to buy or sell them, she must be one of the luckiest people on Earth. And yes, I'm being sarcastic. Heaven confirms pastors are allowed to speed on the way to church. According to heavenly sources, church pastors are officially exempt from all posted speeding limits and well within their rights to speed on the way to church. They have important work to do. The Babylon Bee. Waiting for some stranger to arrive because my wife decided to risk my life by selling our pillows on Facebook Marketplace for $5. I hardly ever go on Facebook Marketplace unless I'm actually searching for something, but you see an awful lot of strange things on there sometimes. And you also see a lot of things that just makes you wonder, why would they even waste their time posting it? Imagine, if you will, being so ignorant and dumb that you protest against safer streets and communities. It's like a vampire being forced to hold a cross. The memes about Philadelphia Karen are still going. RFK Jr. wants to end mental health screenings in schools. Experts say it's a bad idea. The real question is, why was schools doing mental health screenings on kids in the first place? Because that's where all the indoctrination began to ramp up 2 to 3 decades ago. Japanese company creates a wearable beanbag chair so you can lay down whenever and wherever you want. You know, it's just a matter of time before you see somebody in Walmart wearing this. I think I found the ruby slippers. Prehistoric women were probably better at hunting than men, scientists suggest. The Scientist. Your bowl of rice is hurting the climate too. Should I just unalive? That is the end goal of the powers that be.
Want to know what I found out the other day?
What did you find out the other day?
Did you know the entire Earth is $315 trillion in debt.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What?
Who do they owe money to?
Bro, who are they getting money from?
It blows my mind that first off, you have everything on the planet here to live for free.
You literally have everything you need.
And then you invent a system
Uh-huh.
that creates a deterioration of your own resources.
You created a store of value that's literally storing less and less value every day. Every day.
And you're increasing your technology, and yet somehow you still owe money to someone, and it's $315 trillion. There's not enough paper to print that much cash. What are they doing?
Dude, Earth is like the worst meme coin. It's the worst.
It got rugged.
Earth got rugged.
My 15-year-old daughter asked me if she could get a nose ring, so I bought her one. That's the only acceptable type. I can't stand a thief, but this fool must be a mathematical wizard to balance the whole truck on one jack stand. He's just reducing his overhead cost to as low as possible. Watching a new TV show, hoping it doesn't get woke. The first half of the series, the second half. We deserve NBA money. Do a 360 windmill dunk first. Yep, that's the first requirement. Secondly, let the WNBA bring in enough money to actually pay for their salaries first. Speaking of which, by the way, they actually turned down a 300% pay increase, if I remember right, because they weren't happy with that because they weren't getting paid the same amount of millions as the men were. Even though the NBA subsidizes the WNBA because otherwise it wouldn't exist. Windows 2001. Windows 2025. Yeah, they should keep the backgrounds more realistic. These guys in prison are living better than us. Imagine playing prison rules. Well, it could be like the prisons over in the Netherlands, if I remember right. Their so-called cells are far nicer apartments than many of the people have here in the US today. Florida man charged with mailing a white powder letter to the New York State Attorney General's office. Yeah, it seems like in a lot of news articles and such recently that you always seem to hear about the Florida man, the people of Walmart, and the people of Yellowstone. A malfunctioning, obsolete clanker is abducted by 3 of its co-workers and brutally dismantled in Austin, Texas, circa 1999. You have to laugh at the fact that people have already come up with a derogatory term for androids. This dude took Crocs to a whole new level. Man, what is wrong with people? It's gonna be weird seeing Swift on the back of his jersey. Yeah, it might be. I guess the worst thing is when she's there. I think the announcers and such talk more about her than they do the game. What little I've seen, at least. Somebody on here trolling Burger King. The shooter isn't trans. The left. But his boyfriend is. When a woman says 5 minutes, think like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter and both teams have all their timeouts. You have to admit, this actually is a pretty good analogy. It pained me greatly, but I had to put a choke collar on the old lead dispenser. Caught it sneaking out of the house at 3 a.m. Can't be having that. Yeah, better keep it locked up real good. Otherwise, it might sneak off and go dispense some lead on somebody all by itself. If guns kill people, pencils misspell words, cars drive drunk, and spoons make people fat. Fact check true. Babe, Hawaii sounds amazing. Let's take a floating Walmart there. Never been on a cruise, and I certainly wouldn't want to go on one anytime soon with all the things that you keep hearing about them. Oh look, the government caused another problem. Guess we need some more government. That's how it always goes. If all humans suddenly lost the ability to lie, what industry would collapse first? Everything would collapse first. Because if this were true, then the government would collapse, all of the news and media would all collapse, all the other propaganda sources would also collapse, the schools, the economy, and a whole lot more. When a country boy wins the lottery. Yeah, maybe so. That would take an awful lot of time and work, though. Still looks a lot better than some of them I've seen. Girls nowadays are like a box of chocolates. Some of them have nuts. When you meet someone as weird as you, that's not weird at all. Therapist when they see a girl with blue hair walking in. They probably do, actually. Thanks for hiding my package, Amazon. Yeah, it just blends right in. Nobody ever see that one. Refusing to indulge in another person's psychosis is not a phobia. No, it certainly isn't. Well, guys, I think it was just in last week's show that I was talking about how gold broke $3,600 on September the 8th for the first time in history. Now, here we are less than 2 weeks later, and it's just a hair under $3,700 at the time of this recording. By the time this video drops, it's very possible that it's already well over $3,700. And silver right now is at $43, by the way. You're watching the inflation of the US dollar in real time. Can I count all of my wife's multiple personalities in the census report? No, you should not count your wife's multiple personalities in the census report. The U.S. Census is designed to count individuals based on their physical presence, and it's illegal to provide false information. You should report your wife as one person, the individual who typically resides in your home. Google's AI overview told them no, that you're not allowed to do that and it's illegal to provide false information. And then it gives them a list of reasons of why you should only count your wife once. Then we move on to, can I claim all of my wife's multiple personalities on my taxes? I love the fact that it gives the potential tax benefits related to disability. Yeah, this is true, and it'll go the other way when the Democrats retake office. President Trump will send the National Guard to Memphis to address the crime problem, and has the support of the Tennessee governor. I've made a few statements in some past shows concerning things of this nature. I know most of the right is very supportive of this because it sounds like a good idea, even though the military was never supposed to police citizens. But setting that aside, one of the things that the right is not considering on all of these type of topics or actions that's being taken, they sound good now. However, when the Democrats retake office, because it will happen at some point, all of these actions and things that were done before, they will then turn them and use them against the right, except probably 100-fold more. Because once a door like this is open, you're never going to close it again. So be careful what you call for and what you support. Because if you think that the 6th day of January was bad, that isn't even a drop in the bucket to what they can do when they go back in. Make men masculine again, make women feminine again, and make children innocent again, to say the very least. I'm going to end today's show a little differently this week. Many of you will already know exactly what this is, and you've heard it before. All of you that are younger, though, may or may not have ever heard of this before. But even for those who have heard it before, I think it's good to hear it again and look at the state of things in this nation today, in 2025, compared to what the great Paul Harvey predicted back in 1965 in the If I Were the Devil broadcast. Let's take a listen.
If I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness. And I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
Paul Harvey certainly had very good insight to where this nation was heading. Before you go, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It won't stop the collapse, but it will help keep the memes flowing. I'll be honest guys, the channel's been doing pretty rough in the past several months. It all started back in March. I've been having a really hard time trying to get the algorithm to start pushing the videos again. And that's one of the reasons that some of the shows has been airing on different days and times recently, as well as changes to the thumbnails, the titles, and even the video description. The point being, I would certainly appreciate it if you guys would share the videos. But that's it for today's show, but I'll see you guys next time. I thank you all for watching. You guys take care and stay safe out there. This is Akorn, out and over.
Oh! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god, bro. There's a snake crawling out of the fish's mouth, bro. Oh my Jesus.